Hello, people of the internet. Welcome back to TK is Outlandish. If you're subscribed and you're coming back, thanks for coming back. If you're new, I am Teresa, and that is my husband, Ryan. And basically, we just go over the series Outlander from my point of view, which is a book reader point of view, and Ryan's point of view. He has not read the book, so he's TV viewer only. And I think that's a good, concise description.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I may be taking the reins on this episode here because this is a largely TV only episode. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so let's get into it. 607 Sticks and Stones. So there we go. Tom Christie and Alan Christie.
Picking up right where we left off.
Yeah, so let me tell you in the book real quick. So it ends the chapter where Claire finds Melva's body. It just says that it's from Claire's point of view, that's where they found me holding the baby, crying over the baby and over her body. No, it doesn't even say who found her. If it was Jamie, if it was the Christies, if it was just random people, it never says. We never get details of Melva's funeral, burial, anything like that. So all of this is pretty much for the TV viewer, and of course the ether, as I pointed out, and I'm sure other fans have pointed out, is a TV only storyline. So so just real quick, my opinion is I still don't think Tom Christie believes that Jamie was the father of Melva's babies. I don't think that Tom Christie believed that Claire killed her. Tom actually, I think, except for his thing about, like, what would we say about Malva? I don't want her buried in the graveyard. He actually didn't say, he didn't say anything at the funeral. Really, it was all Alan. So anyway, Ryan, your opinion on that?
Well, it didn't. I mean, it seemed like Tom was grieving. So he did feel honestly bad for the loss of his daughter. I think. But yeah, he was very preoccupied with the spiritual aspect of her death, whether she had enough time to pray for forgiveness, um, the what Claire could and couldn't do for the burial for the baby. That all seemed to really matter for him. And yeah, I agree that he doesn't really seem to think Jamie had anything to do with this. But I also don't think that he cares. Um, I don't think that matters to him. Who his daughter's baby daddy was. Just as long as they're married or they pay for it or you know whatever. I don't think he cares. I don't think that's like factoring into his equations at all.
Mm-hmm. And just real quick, I know that we're really late on this reaction video. Basically, so besides being really busy this week, my allergies have been really, really bad. So that's another reason I'm not talking a lot.
So this works out.
My throat seems to go out around this time of night. So my apologies.
All right. Well, we'll make this a quick and good video. We'll condense all of the goodness in the video to a short one.
Well, in this episode, there wasn't like a lot of action. There was it just took place over, I think, a few days, so there wasn't like a lot of time.
Yeah. This was definitely more of a story, like a plot development episode. We did, yeah, like you said, not a lot of action. Not a lot of new storylines opened up, though there was one which we'll get to. And there weren't any real storylines closed, including Malva's, because it's still very much we're in the process of figuring out what in the hell happened.
So we'll probably get back to the Christies as we always do.
Mm-hmm.
But doing the Bree and Roger.
Yep. So why
So,
are we at Bree and Roger here? What are they doing this episode?
Roger has decided to become a Presbyterian minister and talks about it to Brianna. In the book, this happened. This he hasn't left yet, but he has already decided to become a minister, or at least he's really, really thinking about it. I'm trying to think now. One of our subscribers, Victoria, put in our last video, which was like the in-between video on the break, put a timeline of all the important things that happened in the
Yeah, that
book.
was really cool, by the
Really
way.
helpful.
Thanks.
Yes, and I'm like, some of the stuff, because there's just so much. I'm like, I forgot it even happened.
But waking
So
up, by the way, to somewhat like 30 comments threw us a little bit, but just, we're good. We got it.
I was like, wow, 35 people. No, it was like all, but it was actually very helpful. So if anyone wants to go over the timeline of what happened in the books, if either you're curious or you read the books a long time ago and you don't have them readily accessible like I do, and you're like, what happened in the book? Go back to our last video and look at the timeline that Victoria posted. Um, but yeah, Roger decides to go be a Presbyterian minister, and for him to do that, I think he has to pass a test, or he has to be like questioned in Edenton.
Yep, yep.
Which I'm not sure where that is. Somewhere in, I'm assuming North Carolina, probably
It Yeah,
North
it's
Carolina.
away from the ridge, and
Yeah.
that's all that really matters for this plot.
I'm kind of wondering what happened to Amy McComb though. Like she was like around. You know what
That
else I find
she
funny?
was I don't know, she just felt like a plot device to me. I mean, maybe she does come into the plot later, I don't know. But
Mhm.
more prominently. But she very much felt like just she felt like a device used just to keep Roger at arm's distance from Bree for those couple episodes where it was necessary for them to have that kind of like emotional distance. Then the healing, and then the baby, and then they're all good.
She's around more in the book, and there's a character, Bobby Higgins, who's in the book, who's actually around a lot in the book. That I don't know if they're going to introduce him in the show at all, but he's actually quite prominent in the book, and is I wouldn't say he's one of Jamie's confidants, but he's kind of one of Jamie's men. He trusts him to travel back and forth. He was involved in the book. He was involved with the Boston Massacre, and he has an M branded on his face for murderer. And Lord John kind of took him under his wing. So he's like to go between Lord John and Jamie, because Lord John's not in the book at all. There's just letters between them and Bobby. Oh no, I take it back. Lord John is at the very, very end of the book. So anyway, um,
Wait. Lord John is only at the end of the of the Breath of Fire and Ashes book.
mhm.
Oh wow, okay. So I mean, he's one of the more prominent secondary characters. I'm surprised he only made like a single appearance in the book.
Yeah, I don't think he has. No, because he is he went to his property in Virginia. I think he has, like, his wife has his wife that passed away, Isabel, had property in Virginia. Then he has Mount Josiah, I think, is the plantation name, and he has to go there. And then William's actually in England, at school, so they're not around. They're at the very, very end of the book. They all
Hmm.
meet up unknowingly in Wilmington, because um, Stephen Bonnet doesn't get executed until the end of this book, but here he was executed in book 5. So or season 5. So Bree and Roger, and she has had her second child by then, go to Wilmington to witness the execution of um, Stephen Bonnet and Lord John and William are there.
All right, I'm just surprised. I know he's probably one of the more popular. He's probably maybe the most popular character out of outside of the main forecast. Um,
Um, I think they brought him in just because David Barry is a likable actor. I said it before. I'm not a huge fan of Lord John, but I do like David Barry, so I have no problem separating characters and actors. Um, let's get to this because I think this is going to be important in the not only in the next episode, which by the way, so the last video that was in between, I said that the finale was going to be May 8th because I checked my TV schedule and it was not scheduled for May 8th. Well, I checked last Sunday and it is now on the schedule for May 1st is the finale. It's not May 8th, it's May 1st in like 2 days.
yep. So no week skip. It's coming up like
It,
immediately after publishing
oh,
this video.
yes. I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it to be over.
I know, and we are almost all out of Sassenach whiskey.
I know.
As
It like lined up perfectly.
we did. I parsed it out perfectly. Too much to my credit, I might add. That was delicious. I really had to hold back. So again, thanks, Sam. If you're watching, which I know you are, of course you are. Why wouldn't you be? Great whiskey. Thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, what
Yep.
do we have next? We have Mr. Bug and Mrs. Bug, who I didn't even remember were in the series
These are
until
like
I watched.
these are characters to me that just seemed like they were always like background characters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we do this our episode our podcast here fairly extemporaneously. We don't really talk about it a whole lot, but you've talked to me about the bugs before, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always surprised that they didn't play a bigger part before, and now they're kind of like shoehorning them in at this point and trying to make them
Yeah,
significant characters.
because they are part of a plot line that I wasn't sure if they were going to bring in or not because so this is a spoiler coming up. Spoiler alert. I should keep my hands up while I'm talking about spoiler. When I put it down, that means the spoiler's over. Or do you think
I,
that's
I,
too
I, I'm sorry. I've had like such a week. I have not had a chance to make a screen like a nice flashy screen for spoiler alerts and stuff. We'll get it next
okay?
season of our podcast. I'll have better
Oh, what
graphics.
about my hands? Should I keep Jazz hands up while I'm talking about
You should
spoilers?
not do that. You should not keep. No, don't do that.
Okay, so for the next like 30 seconds, talk about if you don't want to be spoiled, we'll talk about spoilers. Possible spoilers, because I'm not sure if they will bring this in.
All right, skip. Yeah, 30 seconds. Skip ahead 30 seconds, and you got 30
Okay,
seconds. Go.
and go. So, like in season 5, we find out that Jocasta still has Jacobite gold from before Culloden,
Like a
and
lot of it.
a lot of it, like it's kept in her dead husband's mausoleum, and it disappears, and they all know what happened to it. And it turns out, like 30 years ago or whatever, Dougal, Mackenzie, Hector Cameron, who's Jocasta's husband, and I think it's Malcolm Grant, meet to get this gold. And Malcolm Grant has this servant that I don't know, he wears some masks or something, I
Okay,
think.
that's probably over 30 seconds. If you skipped ahead 30 seconds, sorry, you probably heard something.
Okay, so if you skipped ahead and you're listening, still more spoiler. Okay, so the gold disappears and we find out after the house. Okay, we all know that there's going to be like a house fire of some sort because of the obituary from season 4.
Now, can I
Um,
can I actually mention this? Like we talked about this before. I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast yet. So I think that the fire,
mhm,
they say that Mr. Fraser and his wife died in the house fire, and that's the information that Bree comes back with, that they died in the house fire.
mhm.
I think someone does indeed die in the house fire, and they find charred bodies, whoever finds the bodies, and just assumes it's Claire and Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. I don't know who it could be, but that's my guess, that they find bodies that aren't Claire and Jamie's, and so Jamie and Claire are presumed dead, and they take advantage of their presumed death to make a break for it and get the heck out of Dodge.
They still haven't mentioned this fire in this season, which I just think it's weird. I mean, I don't think it's gonna. There's no way they're gonna be able to fit that in one season or one episode left. So it's gonna have to carry. If it happens, it's gonna have to carry to next season. But how are you not gonna like mention it at all?
Yeah, like
And,
I think that our our future predicted impending death would be a fairly regular topic.
mm-hmm.
Like we sit down, maybe have a weekly family meeting. Have we cleared out all of Bree's explosive matches? Cleaned up all the
Oh,
oil. We're good. Nothing laying around that might burn the house down, as fate
I
has
don't think
decreed.
it's weekly. I think it has. I think, but they have the. They don't have the year. They have the date though, and I'd be like, "Hey, it's coming up to that date. We're gonna die.
Yeah, the
Here's your
death
problem."
anniversary. Let's think about this. Make plans to not
Death
die.
person. So anyway, so back to the bugs. I think they're gonna be able to work the Jacobite storyline in without the whole backstory with Dougal and blah blah blah. They can, because the bugs have. He even mentions about going to Cross Creek and
Mhm.
seeing Joe Costa because he's been like making runs with the whiskey with Jamie's whiskey and stuff. But they're but Mr. and Mrs. Bug are kind of turning into like jerks. Like Mrs. Bug's like, oh, I bet you wanted to kill her. The
Yeah, I
hell,
thought
Mrs.
she was
Bug?
just. Yeah, I thought she was just like this, like just quiet housekeeper
Yeah,
that they had on hand. I didn't think that she was like this, like plotting. My boss is a philanderer, kind of. I thought
right.
she might have had like some faith in. I don't know. I don't know. Like they didn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same with Mr. Bug when Jimmy's like, hey, can you not talk about murdered ghosts in front of my son? He's like, oh, I gotta learn about it sometimes. Speaking of sons, so sorry. Um, do you I just love how like like almost all season like Jemmy doesn't really do anything. He's just around. It's just like you can just tell they're like, look, we're gonna do as little scenes as possible with children because they're so difficult to work with.
Yeah.
So we'll
In this episode,
like he's
they
never
just
at dinner. They're at church. He's not at church. Like, where's your kid? Who's watching him? Like,
and then they showed like they gave us like 5 seconds of Jemmy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, remember, don't forget, there's a kid running around here." Like, yes, thanks for that token scene. Thanks.
and I love when they're like, Jemmy said that someone told him that there's a ghost, a murdered ghost. I'm like, no, he didn't. He doesn't talk. No, he did not. I don't believe you. He did not say that. He barely says yes and no. But anyway, um, so yeah, the bugs. So I think that they're gonna. That I think they're setting us up to be treacherous. Is that the word I'm looking for? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they seem like they're treacherous.
It
I
seems
don't know.
not like might not be all that loyal to Jamie.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have the loyalty that we normally expect from like the retainers of Jamie's family and the people
Hmm.
around Jamie and Claire.
Okay, so let's get to the next storyline. My favorite.
Oh, these two. Oh, the Weasley twins.
I could have done without the storyline. And I had said before that they're going to have to change it up because there's no way it's going to fly on TV the way it did in the book. Because in the book, um, Lizzie, yes, it does indeed start with Lizzie being feverish and sick and Josiah lotioning her up. And then next thing you know, bing, bang, boom, they're doing it. I'm like, and I still don't think, as much as Lizzie's like, oh, it was my choice, girl, you were like passing out from being sick. Like seriously, there's really like SVU episodes about that. Like this, I still don't think that's cool. And Kezzy does indeed pretend he's Joe And Lizzie doesn't realize until after she's had sex with him. Once again, SVU episode. That's not consensual. And I knew that was not going to fly on TV, that they would have to change it for Lizzie being like, oh no, it's my choice to have a threesome. Was it? I could have done without the storyline. I know it was just so random, and it was just so like, where is this coming from? And it's kind of funny because in the book, like whatever, they go off and live their life, and they're just kind of like not around. They just kind of like live in a cabin in their odd little setup, and I don't know. It's just pointless to me.
Yeah, and like it just seems to serve. I don't know what they're doing with Lizzie with this. I don't know where they're going. I mean, maybe it just ends here, and they just like we're the weirdo threesome couple, like the family weirdo threesome family.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Which all the which all the Fisher folk will be cool with. I kind
Yeah,
of
sure
feel
they would.
bad.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. You know, that's the
Yeah,
Fisher folks motto.
yeah. Because I like how Jamie's just like really, Lizzie, we have enough to deal with. Now, to be fair, this storyline happens before the whole Melva storyline in the book. So, but Jamie's just like, like, and I just kind of felt the same way. Like, really, Lizzie, like, there's so much going on. Do you just really need to? But it did serve a purpose when she told Claire that she tried to tell her, and it was her knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
So that did serve like a purpose.
I guess. Yeah.
That's also a TV only thing, of course, because it was
Wait,
with the
the
ether
the
too.
Lizzie knocking on the door is a TV only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, of course, because the ether isn't. I think that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but Claire. So the thing about so let's go back to just Claire,
Oh.
and I still think that so she's at the funeral. Now Ryan now in Claire's defense, I think Claire makes a
Go
lot
ahead.
of mistakes.
Go ahead, defend her. Go ahead.
Now she has lost a child. She has lost faith of the stillborn.
Mm-hmm.
And so when
Mm-hmm.
you see
Yeah.
like that little coffin there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, as a mother that has lost maybe not me, Claire, not real life, the character of Claire losing a child, you're gonna run up to that little coffin and
Mm-hmm.
pick it up. I mean, sure, everyone thinks that you murdered its mother and probably the baby too.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But 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 Ryan has a different take on Claire.
I do. I do. And again, I get it. This is her character. That's what she does. And there's not going to be any changing her. If Claire didn't do this, there wouldn't be a series because this is the main impetus for every plot
Everything.
line in Outlander. Um, so all I see whenever I see Claire doing these things that are obviously bad ideas, Claire. You got to remember what century you're in. At least maybe get close to the decade. I'm sorry, Claire. This is all I see. Whenever Claire does something, this is all I see. Pick up a coffin, Claire. There you go.
She's just okay. So not defending Claire, but Katrina Valve herself. I really like the whole speech she gives to Jamie about. Well, first of all, I thought it was a little bit funny because when she gives Jamie the whole speech about what if this is who I am, what if it's in me to like murder someone, and I wanted Jamie to be like, you kind of learned. I've murdered a lot of people, Claire. Like I've killed a lot of people. You're talking to someone who has killed a lot of people. So you being horrified that you might have it in you to kill someone, been there, done that many a time.
Yeah, she's in
You
good company.
a lot of it. So, but I think she did a really good job of something that's so out of character for Claire, because we're always so used to her doing these speeches where she's so strong. Like the last time we had a speech like this was the last episode of season 5, where she's like, "This is not going to break me. I've been through this. I've been through a war. I lost a husband. I lost a child. I'm not, um." But this was like a totally different Claire. And I think she did really well with staying in character of Claire, being that it's, the not from the source material, the book. And I liked seeing Claire being not the strong, always right, always knowing, always so sure of herself.
I
What
I
do you think about
actually I agree completely actually. Now was she like that in the book too? Because I know in the book she's even more like fact based matter, like very headstrong than she is in the TV
was
series.
No, she doesn't have like this whole breakdown. She has moments where things trigger her, and she like there's a scene, there's a storyline that's not brought to the TV, but real quick, there's a family. The wife's name is Uda, because Lizzie actually mentions her on the show. She's not seen though. She's a bigger part in the book. And her son, Manfred, is actually supposed to marry Lizzie, but he comes and tells Claire that he's actually in love with the whore, but the whore died of the pox. Now he has the pox. And so he leaves, and Uta comes to see Claire and flips out on her because how dare you tell everyone that my son has the pox, you liar, blah, blah, blah. So she goes after Claire, and Claire, like, has like a trigger and snaps and starts like going like, excuse my language, batshit crazy on Uta. And Jamie has to like physically hold her back. And then it happens again um, when this kid throws a stone at her and it hits her, and she like flips out and starts like pounding this kid in the face. So I don't know if that scene's gonna be um in in the TV show or not. So she does have these moments. She has a moment at Flora's, like they kind of hint at it at on this show where she talks about the King of France, but at Flora's barbecue, she actually almost like she starts having a panic attack. Like Jamie can tell there's something wrong with her. So she has like these moments, but it's not like built up um and dealt with the ether. So it's just I think it's just a different take on how she deals with things in the
Yeah.
book with and in the TV show.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see her snapping and just beating the hell out of somebody. Um,
I can see Katrina Balfe beating the hell out of somebody as
I
Claire.
well, yes, I can see Katrina doing it. I don't know if they've set it up so it would be a believable reaction for her right now.
Oh, you mean after she's already kind of like used the ether to do so?
Yes, yes. I mean, like right now where we are in the plot line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, that would make sense. But the one thing though that and Ryan disagrees with me. I don't like. She tells Jamie that she's like doing the ether to deal with everything, and then like that one night she's like, I'm going down to get some tea, and Jamie looks super suspicious of it. I don't think that he would have let her go and not gone down and seen what was up. But Ryan thinks that
Yeah,
like
I do. I disagree. I do agree that he looks at her with suspicion. Like he knows something's up. Like he's a
mhm.
smart dude. He knows what's going on. He has. I mean, we just got through how many episodes of Fergus being drunk and dealing with problems, and you know, Jamie is no stranger to people doing things.
self
To, hmm?
but not self medicating, but not calling it that though.
Right. Yeah, they don't have that term back then, but I mean, basically that though. But I think Jamie is the kind of guy who keeps his distance unless someone asks him for help. So he's kind of like, Claire's certainly dealing with something. I mean, she was, she pounded that brandy earlier in the episode,
Oh, that's true.
and he was like, well, yeah, I'll have some of that with you. Um, and he was willing to share, the thoughts with her then. And I think he just, I think he thinks that if she needs his help, she'll come to him. Obviously, she won't. She doesn't. She's ashamed of what she's doing, and she doesn't want to go to anyone for help. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think he's. I think he's doing the best that he knows. And yeah, I don't think he's. Yeah.
So here's a couple of questions for you that came up to me while you're talking. Do you think Jamie being like the kind of guy, do you think that if Melva had accused someone else of being the father of her baby and she like had the baby and she was abandoned or whatever, do you think Jamie would have at least offered to help her out? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I feel like
how like if she would have accused someone else, like why would Jamie be helping her out in that case? Like why
because
wouldn't the father be helping them out?
because he's a jerk. Because I said because he like abandoned her. Do you know what I mean?
Um, I think he would. I think he would. I think he
If
would.
he wouldn't have, if she wouldn't have accused him, because obviously he couldn't have done it
Right,
then.
right, right,
It would be admitting guilt.
right. Exactly.
There was another thought that came to my head. Oh, do you think there's any way Melva as a character could have not been killed? Because what would have happened if she had the baby? You know what I mean? Like what Jamie like I said, like Jamie like couldn't pay her off to go. I mean he could, but then I would be admitting that it's his child.
If
You know
she
what I mean? Like
didn't,
what are they gonna do with her? As a plot device, what are they gonna do with her?
well, I
Do you know what
think, yeah. I mean, they would have had to, gone the route of, burying her under her mountain of lies. Um, you,
I mean?
if she didn't die, they would have had to, keep uncovering all these uh, lies, and people like, oh, well, she slept with this person and this person, and then like, her lies collapse, and eventually she has to admit that, it's not him, or even if she doesn't admit it directly, have such overwhelming evidence that everyone knows that she's a liar. Um,
Oh, go ahead.
and but then even then, I don't think the Christies would really move, because that's the only other. That's what I would imagine someone would do in that case if they were like shamed um, by their family and by their peers and their group. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I think Malva dying was probably the only way out of that, both, yeah, logically and plot line wise.
Speaking of which, so that's something else that doesn't happen in the book. Like Hiram Crombie doesn't come, Obadiah doesn't come and start accusing and stuff. Like there's rumors, but they never confront them. Which, first of all, how are you going to confront? Okay, first he's your landlord and he's letting you live on his not letting you, but I mean he let you move onto his land, and he could have been like, no, keep moving. And you think his wife is a witch? Like, aren't you afraid that you're gonna like tick her off and she's gonna like turn you into a frog or something? Like,
Yeah,
why are
yeah,
you
yeah, I don't know. That's something actually that's always like confounded me about this whole witch thing. Like, you're not afraid of saying, "Hey, you're a witch, and I don't trust you, and you should burn in hell." But hey, whatever.
go
I'm not going to
accuse
actually do any of that.
me?
Like, aren't you afraid of like repercussions? Or is that like
Right?
the whole? Or is that the gimmick? Is that the scam? Like,
Yeah.
I call you a witch, and then something happens to me. Anything, I could trip and fall on my way home over a rock, and like, it was a witch. A witch did it because I insulted her, and then like, aha.
You know
I
what's
don't know.
funny? tripping and whatever. So in the book, do you remember way back in episode or season 1, book 1, Father Bane, the village priest that like showed up in her thing? Okay, so
Yeah.
originally in the book, there's a pack of wild dogs running around um Castle Leoc and Cranesmere or whatever, and he gets attacked by them. And Claire's like, "Well, let me bandage up for you because like dogs bit you and you have to clean the wound." And he's like, the thought of a woman like cleaning his wound is just, you know. And so she was like, it's gonna fester and you're gonna die. Meaning it's, you know, it's gonna fester and you're gonna die if you don't let me clean it. Well, at the trial, he says that like she cursed him. Like he
Right.
takes that as a curse, like that's gonna happen. And in the book, that is how he ends up dying of blood poisoning.
Well, good.
So just an asides. So I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting. Um
I kind of wish we had done this. We had started this on the first season, because I have thoughts about that guy. Um,
Father
and
Bane.
yeah, yeah. We won't get
I
into it now, but I went back and
I
forth with that dude.
mean I mean there's gonna be a Droughtlander. We can go through the whole season,
Ooh,
the whole series and do it. That's what other people are doing. So let
maybe.
us know. Let us know. I think we have 38 subscribers now. Let us know, 38 subscribers. What would you like us to talk about during Droughtlander? I have some ideas. I still want to do Who's Worse, Melva or Leary.
And I am always happy to talk about more Scotch.
Yeah.
So it's a win for everyone.
So so we have Roger and Bree are off, and Jemmy are off. Oh, and can I just point out, Bree finally looks pregnant. Huzzah! It only took like what is she now? Like 6-7 months? Like she has like this little bump.
The clothes they wore back then were just magnificent. They were just wearing like, I guess, just
I
everything
guess.
is maternity clothing. We just assume everything's just made for pregnant women.
Yeah, and of course it's are really made for pregnant women. So anyway, so they're off the ridge, and then we hear hoofbeats, and I knew this was coming. So as soon as I heard the hoofbeats, like my heart stopped. I was like, "It's gonna happen, and
We
they're
knew,
gonna
and
come."
like it's in the intro. You know, even not being a book reader, I knew something was coming, something was going down, and sure
All
enough.
right. So Richard Brown. It was funny though. I saw a little clip. If viewers, if you haven't seen it, I don't know why, but like an hour or so ago, Star's YouTube channel released like 20 clips from Outlander from the past like 3 seasons. It's really, I don't know if they're like, oh, we gotta keep. I don't know if they're like, oh, the finale's coming up. We gotta keep people interested. But they had a little clip of Sam Hewen, and I don't know the actor's name who plays Richard Brown, but it was so funny to hear him talk and not sound like a complete jackass. So he seems like a nice guy, the actor.
I'm sure he's a fine chap.
So he comes up like, "We've come to arrest your wife of the murder of Malva Christie." And of course, that's how it ends.
And of course,
And that's,
Jamie's like, nope.
yeah. So that's how it ends. Cliffhanger. So now I'm going to be making some predictions for the season finale because there's a couple clips in the opening song that we still have not seen in the series. One is the people carrying the torches, and I told you that like the villagers are gonna come.
The beach scene,
Um,
that
the
um,
beach scene. So this is what I think is gonna happen. We have that Indian that's by the fire that we now, to be fair, there was a clip, the opening scene of season 1 with Frank and Claire on the dock. That's actually not in any of the episodes because it ended up being from a scene that they cut
mhm.
eventually. So maybe it's something they cut, but I'm
Or
gonna
I mean,
make a
maybe it's just maybe that particular scene in the intro is just representative of their interactions with the Indians in those first couple episodes that we had.
Hmm. Um, but so we saw the preview for next episode, and Jamie says, we'll both go. That's the only way. That's the only thing they'll accept." So I know that in the book, on the trip from, so they want to take her to Hillsborough. I said that they ended up in Wilmington. I was incorrect. They end up in New Bern, which is the capital of North Carolina at the time. Why I was confused was because there was a boat, and I thought I was confusing New Bern for the capital of North Carolina now, which is Raleigh, which is inland. New Bern is on water, like an inlet. So they do end up in New Bern, but they want to take her to Hillsborough. Nobody wants to try her because there's all this turmoil, with the coming war, and so there's the incident with the kid throwing the rock, and so um they separate Claire and Jamie. They're at a tavern, and guys basically just grab Jamie and hold him back, and they take Claire by herself. But Tom Christie volunteers to go with them to guarantee that they get a fair trial, and everyone's like feels so bad for him that they agree. I'm starting to think that because there's only one episode left, what's going to happen is they're going to set us up to think that Jamie and Claire are going to go together. I think that they're going to get ready to leave, and Tom Christie will go too, and they will immediately separate them. They'll immediately like hold Jamie back and just take Claire, and Claire will be affected once again. I think Ian's going to either show up, or he's going to Jamie's going to go to the Cherokee, and then we have that episode, we have the scene in the opening with the six figures on horseback. Jamie's on the white horse, and we see Ian. We think it's John Quincy Myers. You're pretty sure it's John Quincy Myers.
I
I'd be
mean,
really happy.
it's literally the outfit that he wears in every scene we've seen him in.
I really like John Quincy Myers, so I hope it's him. And then we see the one whose name I can never remember, but he was he was with Ian in the Mohawk.
The one we keep calling Sun Elk that isn't really Sun Elk.
Who is technically not Sun Elk, Callahandrin, I think. And I think there's two more Indians, and I think Jamie's gonna round them up and go rescue Claire once again. Claire does need rescuing, like, quite often. She needed rescued from Cranesmuir. She needed rescued from Blackjack. I'm just saying, she needs to be rescued a lot.
Oh, you're just saying. I know.
Because I don't think we're going to be able to fit into one episode them going to Hillsborough and then going somewhere else, and then them being separated and Jamie getting back, because it's across the state. I mean, they're all on horseback. It's not like a road trip.
I think you're right. It's going to be a huge cliffhanger at the end with Claire in imminent peril.
And Fergus and Marcelly and their family are in New Bern. So and there's that really quick clip of Indians and a guy in maybe it's Richard Brown, because the dude was wearing a tri-cornered hat on the beach, and they're running on the beach, and I said it looked like the Outer Banks, and New Bern is kind of in that area, like the Outer Banks are obviously on the outer skirt. If you're not familiar with the geography of North Carolina, it's like a strip of, it's on the outer banks. I don't know how to explain it except that it's Outer Banks. So
That's on the season 6 trailer that Stars provided. That we get these extra little clips of scenes that we haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Lizzie running. I was like, is Lizzie running away from the house? Is she? Because I thought maybe Jamie brought her father. Oh my god, if he was gonna have time for that. I think she's running to get Jamie's men, which would have been there's three Lindsay brothers in the book. There's Kenny, Evan, and Murdo, but I think there might only be 2 in the show. But anyway, going to get Jamie's like men to help defend them against the mob with the torches, which I said was like Frank the villagers going up to Frankenstein, and that's literally how Claire describes it in the book. And maybe I read that and I subconsciously remembered it, and that's how I described it like that. So I just I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to resolve that. In one episode, one of our new subscribers said that Diana Gabaldon wrote an episode 9, but they ended up like the cut to 8 episodes was like a late decision. So, and I think when I read that, I'm like, I think I did read that somewhere else on the interwebs. So I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to wrap that up in one episode. They just can't, and they don't have to film it. I mean, it's apparent if she wrote it. I don't know if they filmed it or not, but I don't know. Season 7, there's some back behind the scene pictures from season 7 coming up. So I'm pretty sure I know how the storyline's going to go. There's another stone circle. That's all I'm going to say.
Whoa, what? Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. That's news to me. You didn't let me know that part before. Okay, cool. That's a good teaser there. Appreciate that.
I can give a shout out to the channel that I saw the pictures on. It's called, except I can't remember. I think if I don't get it, I'll put it in the comments. But if I get it wrong, look the comments. I'll get it right in the comments. I think it's called Outlandish Journeys. Those where I'm getting the behind the scene pictures and videos from.
Okay, we'll put that. We'll look that up real quick after we post this and put it in the description for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else if any of our viewers are interested in finding out any other backstage stuff, because it's gonna be a long Outlander. Hopefully not as long as the last one, 2 years.
It's what I mean. They're probably going to release it. What, next 2023?
I heard either late 2022 or early 2023, but it's 16 episodes. That's a lot of episodes.
I mean that. I mean, 24 episodes is a good season. I mean, that's like a season length. So I feel like 16 episodes plus this. I feel like it's more like season 6 part 2.
I'm sorry. My hair's like I'm being so vain right now. I'm just trying to get the hair out of my face, and my picture is reversed, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just want the hair out of my face.
I know. Sometimes I just want to flip my hair like this, and I get it the wrong way, and yeah. So I think it feels like more like a season 6 part 2 will be what we'll get next season.
So yeah, so it's like 2 days. I don't know when we're going to be able to watch it because we got a really busy weekend coming up.
Yeah, I think I have a day off like midway through May. So maybe then we'll see.
Yeah, maybe I can just do it without you, and we'll edit you in.
No,
that's too fancy for us. We're like low tech here. If you put we're raw and real, is what it is.
Yes.
So, anyway, people of the internet that watch us, thanks for watching us through. I have no idea how long this has been going on. So if you've made it this far, thanks so much. And we'll see you. We will really, really try to get a video up shortly after the season finale. It might be a lot to take in. Can't believe it's over. I don't want it to be over. Part of me wishes there was another break. Oh, but I did find out that season 5 is coming to Netflix on May 10th.
Oh, well, that's good. And we
So
have Men in Kilts to look forward to. I am
Men in
actually
Kilts.
really looking forward to that.
If you have not seen Men in Kilts, it's quite funny. It's quite funny. It's like
It's wonderful. Sam and Graham are like just like Laurel and Hardy. Well, no, not really, but yeah, yeah, kind of like that. I mean,
not
they're just
exactly. But I said it reminded me like Graham McTavish is like a serious uncle that wants to show his nephew the their history, and be serious and teach them. And Sam's just like the agitator that's just like kind of like a little bit of a goofball and just gives him a really hard time, which is really funny because if their relationship is like uncle nephew, that's what they played on Outlander. So, but way more serious on Outlander. It's goofier on Men in Kilts, but and I like learning stuff too. I actually did learn. I did learn quite a bit, but this season's gonna be in New Zealand.
that's still fine. I mean, I could actually, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun being New Zealand.
I think they should do like Scottish influences like in North America, like Nova Scotia, which which literally means New Scotland, and in North Carolina, and there's a lot of never realized how much Scottish influence there was until I watched Outlander.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm 20% Scottish. I wouldn't have I don't think I would have known that if I didn't watch Outlander because I wouldn't have cared. Explains why I'm so pale and I like bagpipes
That is definitely genetic. Yes, yes.
because I'm 20% Scottish.
Mhm.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I'm just getting goofy and tired.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Oh, thank you so much for joining us again, and we'll see you at 5:07 or 6:07. 6:07.
608. This is 607.
6:08. You all know
I,
better than I do. It's fine.
it's late. All right, bye.
Bye.